Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Kelvin here. How much allowance should you give your parents? This is a question that many of us have. This question is not easy to answer because on one hand, if you give too much, you will end up not having enough money for yourself. But on the other hand, if you give too little, people will call you a useless char siu. Then how? So, in this video, I will answer this question. How much money should you give your parents? Is there actually a market rate? Or should you not even give them any money at all and being risk called a useless char siu? But before I start, I would greatly appreciate it if you can help to tap the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. In return, I will show you a tortoise playing with water. Alright, let's start right now. Okay, so this whole parents allowance thing originally came from the teachings of Confucius. In his teachings, he talks about filial piety, where one shows gratitude and respect to their parents for bringing them up. And one of the ways to show gratitude is that once we get a job and start earning money, we will give them a monthly allowance. But the question is, how much should you give? If you check around, the answers are usually just give whatever you can afford lor. Give whatever you feel comfortable. Everyone is different. It depends. So you are saying it's alright to give $1? Of course not, right? Later your parents disown you, then you know. There is obviously a market rate to this whole parents allowance thing. Like how there's a market rate for how much ang pao money to give when you attend your friends' weddings. Because if you give too little, or your friend doesn't want to friend you anymore. You give too much, you become poor and you have to eat air, drink rainwater for the rest of the month. This is the same for parents' allowance. So then, what is the market rate? Okay, check this out. In 2017, Dollars and Cents did a survey where they tried to find out how much allowance parents are hoping to receive from their kids. And this is what they found. More than half of the people felt that it's a must for children to give money to their parents. 17% don't think it's a must, but they secretly hope that the children will give. So it's quite clear that most parents are expecting to receive a monthly allowance. As for how much they are expecting, almost 69% prefer a fixed amount and the rest prefer a percentage. So it's like your CPF. The more you earn, the more you give. Here's the most important part. If it's a fixed amount, 44% of the parents hope to receive between $200 to $400 and 25% hope to receive $400 to $600. Or in other words, we can say that almost 70% of the parents are expecting to receive between $200 to $600 every month. But that was 5 years ago. So if you factor in inflation, the amount is between $220 to $660 now. Then for parents who prefer a percentage of pay, most of the parents prefer anywhere from 5% to 10%. So let's say if you're earning $5,000 a month, they would expect to get up to $500. Or if you're like Gupta's son, earning $13.6 million a year or $1.3 million a month, then your parents would expect to get $100K every month. So I would say that parents who prefer percentage of pay are more smarter, yeah? But now, let's look at the other side. How much are the kids giving their parents? AKA, what is the market rate? There's a survey done by Answers SG, which had around 7,000 responses. And it found that most people are giving 10% of their pay to their parents, or around $500. Sidley compiled more data from the site. You can see that across all the age ranges, the median is around 10%. The older the age group, the amount given is higher. For example, people around 18 to 20 years old usually gives $160, while people around 31 to 35 years old gives around $650. This number actually coincides with a survey that Geraldine did not too long ago, where she found that most people are giving up to $500 of their salary. So, in conclusion, the market rate is 10% of your pay or $500 every month. Let me share a quick message from this video's sponsor, Weibo. This month, Weibo has further improved their sign-up bonus to $130 of free Tesla shares. To qualify, you just need to deposit at least 2,000 SGD into Weibo make one buy trade on either US stocks or US ETFs within 30 days, make another buy trade on US options within the same 30 days, then maintain the 2000 HUD balance for 30 days, and you will receive your free $130 Tesla shares. So if you are interested, you can sign up with my link down below. With that being said, let's get back to the video. Okay, now you know what the market rate is. However, there's still something to keep in mind. All these are just what other people are doing. As the Hardware Zone bros put it, everyone is different. And this is not a competition to see who is the most filial child or the most unfilial child in some cases. Instead, it has more to do with how much our parents really need, what is their financial situation, and how much you can afford to give. For example, if your parents are super rich, like they drive Lambo, bathe in mineral water, have 69 maids, you think they want your $500 lah? That's like chicken rice money to them. On the other hand, if you are a poor art student, I'm not making fun of art students, yeah? That's just what the data says. Art students usually have the lowest pay. If you are an art student earning 1 to 2K a month, $500 definitely is a lot of money. So how do you decide how much to give? Okay, the first thing to do is to check whether your parents really need that money or not. Because when it comes to money, you always need to handle your need first, then only handle once. In the survey that Dollars and Cents did, they found that 72% of the parents don't really need the money, and only 1/4 is dependent on the money to survive. The Woke Salary Man summarized those 3 scenarios perfectly. If your parents are doing okay, but you are not doing okay, like maybe you are a fresh grad who's not earning much, then this allowance thing is more like a gratitude thing. In that case, how much you give is not so important already. Then for the second scenario, if the parents are not doing okay, but you are doing okay, in that case, the parents' allowance becomes a necessity already. So if you are in this scenario, then it's probably a good idea to give allowance to your parents. Because if you don't, Singapore has something called the Parents Maintenance Act, where parents can ask their kid to give allowance. So don't play. Also, I was quite curious if there were anyone who were charged by this act. Turns out there is, but thankfully, the number of cases is going down every year. Then for the final scenario, both you and your parents are not doing okay. This is the most common scenario for most Singaporeans, aka sandwich generation, where we are stuck in between paying for our parents and paying for our kids. So much so that NTUC came up with a video to remind us to plan for our retirement. If you are in this scenario, the keyword here is communication, because both you and your parents need the money. In that case, you will need to discuss and decide what's the best amount to give. I've also done a video that talks about how to help your parents financially prepare for retirement, which you can check it out here if you want. Now, it's not always about money. In the Confucian teaching about filial piety, he never mentioned anything about money at all. But rather, filial piety is just an attitude of respect for your parents and ancestors. What that means is, there are actually a lot of ways to repay your parents for raising you. Then, some people be like, of course you need to pay back your parents. They spent so much money raising you leh. You don't trust you can? Okay, let me show you a super old Malaysian advertisement. In the ad, the aunties are at an old folks home, telling each other how much their kids are making. Then this auntie be like, my kid is going to pick me up and bring me around. She's like, Aiya, my kid is so troublesome one. Then leaves all the auntie behind. The takeaway from this is, it's not about how much money you can give your parents, because the truth is, most parents don't really need so much money. But rather, it's about how much time you can spend with your parents. Because don't forget, they are getting old every day. So rather than giving them allowance, you can bring them out to go shopping or eat at restaurants, or sometimes bring them out to vacations so that you can spend time and make memories together. But with that being said, sometimes money is important too, right? Because maybe your parents don't have money to pay for that super expensive Singtel iPhone 13 mobile plan that they sign up for. Which, by the way, is the wrong method, yeah. The correct method is to sign up for a SIM-only plan then get the phone separately. In this example, you can't possibly pay the bill with just love, right? Later Singtel come after your parents. In that case, giving an allowance is important. Then sometimes you also need to see how the money is being used. Like maybe you give them $500 every month, but then they use all the money to buy Toto. Or maybe they're giving away all the money to someone else, then come and complain to you that they don't have enough to use. In that case, it may not be a good idea to give them money directly. Instead, what you can do is help pay for the expenses, like utility bills, grocery bills, and medical bills. Finally, here is a point that I don't see talked about often, and that is minimize regret. So this was brought up by Bing Fong from Sydney, where he regretted not giving his mom an allowance. Instead of giving allowance to his parents, he was investing the money because they didn't really need the money yet. But not too long ago, his mom passed away due to cancer, and in the end, he regretted not being able to let the mom enjoy the money. Here's the takeaway. There's a reason why many parents hope to receive an allowance, even though they don't really need the money. I think it's because it makes them happy, either because they are proud that their kids are being filial, or because they have more money to use. So you will need to talk to them and find out what is their preference. Like if they prefer to receive an allowance, then it's good to just give them the money. Or maybe like this guy's mom who didn't want any money, so he still shows his gratitude by buying gifts for her. In short, how much you should give your parents depends on a lot of different factors, like do they need the money or not, how are they spending it, and so on. And while you are doing it, don't forget about the original meaning of this whole allowance thing, and that is being filial. You can show your gratitude in many different ways, like checking in on them every other day, bringing them out for meals, or bring them for vacations. And I think that it will be a lot more meaningful than just give a money allowance. But how are you repaying your parents? Do comment down below and let me know. Like, share and subscribe as I'll be posting more videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday.